Linda decided to learn how to drive. She finished her course, got her driver's license, but because she was still inexperienced and afraid of doing something wrong, she asked her husband Sean to drive with her for a few days after work. In order not to distract his wife from the road, Sean sat in the passenger seat behind her, and if he saw Linda doing something wrong, corrected her. On the first day, the advices fell like peas out of a torn sack. Linda had no time to respond to her husband's remarks, got nervous, and made even more mistakes. The second night was no better. Every few minutes, Sean yelled at his wife and pointed out another slip-up. By the end of the trip, she was desperate and thought she was hopeless. The third day began as usual, but after a while her husband quieted down and even stopped making quiet, nagging remarks. Linda felt almost happy. Was she really beginning to get it right? For more than an hour, the woman drove along the suburban highway, feeling more and more confident. She made difficult turns, parked, changed speeds. True, she made a couple of mistakes, but her husband tactfully pretended not to notice and was quiet again. Linda was immensely grateful. At the end of the drive, the woman was over the moon. She drove dashingly down the driveway, stopped at the garage, and turned to show off her success to her husband. But it turned out there was no one behind her. While Linda stared in amazement at the empty seat, her husband came out of the porch with a cup of tea in his hand and greeted her nonchalantly. It turned out that at the gas station, Sean had gone out to buy himself a coffee, and Linda had paid for the gas, got in her car, and drove off without looking back. The woman was terribly ashamed of what had happened. How could she not have noticed that her husband had stayed at the gas station? She went pink with embarrassment. Linda began to make excuses, but Sean was more interested in finding out how her trip had gone. And when his wife told him how it had gone, the man looked at her with a strange, thoughtful look. The next day, the couple got in the car again. Linda adjusted the mirror, put the key in the ignition, and braced herself for the remarks. But Sean was silent. A couple of times, the woman even turned around and checked to see if he was still there. The trip went well. Even the Toyota that clipped Linda on the highway didn't shake her confidence. When the old Ford braked sharply in front of her, the woman was alert and avoided a collision. Even an unexpected ball that rolled out of the way didn't stop her. Linda handled all the problems brilliantly. When the couple returned home and got out of the car, Linda noticed that her husband's wrist was red and slightly swollen. She anxiously asked what was wrong. "I realized that with my remarks, I was only disturbing you," Sean admitted. "So I put a rubber band on my wrist, and every time I wanted to say something, I clipped it on myself. It distracted me and made me hold back." Linda was so touched by her husband's understanding that she could find no words to thank him, but only hugged him tightly and silently. Sometimes you need to speak out to support the person, but sometimes silence is much more valuable to them.